Hi everyone and welcome to our daily devotion. Now, for those who caught last week, you'll have heard about how I have a very old suitcase full of bits and bobs that I hadn't looked at for years. And recently I've opened up that case and found all sorts. You'd have heard about the Bible and how I made a decision to become a Christian quite young, but how when I left and during my university years, I very much turned my back on the Lord. One of the other things that was in that suitcase was my baptism certificate. The 2nd of December 1979. Yes, I was very young. But when I was baptised, it was a decision that I made that I understood. I was young, but I understood what I was doing. I understood what it meant. That I was declaring publicly that I was going to follow Jesus. And that had been my intention. Now, I would love to be able to say that in my university years, the people who knew me then, if you asked them, they'd say, oh yeah, that Louise, oh yeah, really dedicated Christian, talked about Jesus all the time, shared the gospel, walked the walk. I can't. I would love to say that years later, when I had my first of my children, and I was a nice person by then, the kind of really bad Louise, been put to bed, bit of a new start, mother, nice enough person, did some voluntary work, play groups, support groups. People might say, oh yeah, she was really helpful. But again, they wouldn't say she reflected Christ. She spoke of the love of Jesus. And seeing this baptismal certificate, it would be easy to get despondent, to reflect on the wasted years, those years that I turned my back on the Lord, those years where I could have been an ambassador of Christ, and I wasn't. But while I was considering these things, the Lord brought to my remembrance a verse, and it's from Philippians, and it's chapter 1, and it's in verse 6. It says, being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Jesus Christ. You see, Christ began a work in me when I was 7 and I made the decision to be a Christian. That's when the work began. And yes, I have failed. I've given into sin, into temptation. I have let the Lord down. But he reminded me of the words. He began a good work in me and he will bring it to completion. And that's the same maybe for you. Maybe you're in a place where things haven't been going great. You're walking with the Lord, but maybe you feel like you constantly let him down, or you're failing. Just remember that verse. He who began a good work. You see, he's not finished yet. The job's not done. He's still working with us. My dad, who's in his 70s and has been a Christian for so many years, he's still learning. He's still being moulded, still being shaped. God's not finished. He's not done. But as we focus on Jesus, we see his servanthood. In Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25, we read there of Jesus' love. Husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. And it's as we turn our focus back to Jesus and we remember that him serving us is the place that we start from. Then as we serve him, we reflect Jesus, and that allows us to serve the church. You see, we look at Jesus and we see the image to which we are being moulded to. No, we're not there yet. We fail. We get things wrong. But Jesus is changing us. The Holy Spirit is changing us. And this change is because we join Jesus in his mission. As we focus on him, as we rededicate ourselves to him, we join in his mission and his work on earth. So it's in this context that the moulding and the shaping and the transformation takes place. So does it matter where we're broken or where we're cracked, where we've fallen down. Our Maker has a grand design, and it's his intention for us that is important. It's not complete yet. We're not there. But one day we will be perfected by our Maker. So let's rest in that. Let's rest in hope, and let's turn our focuses upward and outward. So don't let your failures dictate your standing before God. If you are, stop and rejoice today that we are being made more like Jesus as we accept God's invitation to join him in his work. He isn't done with us yet.